Today is Monday, January 20th, which means Onyx Storm comes out officially tomorrow. Today is going to be a cozy reading vlog. I'm going to be reading Onyx Storm and giving my spoiler-free thoughts and ratings as we go. Tonight, I'm also going to the Onyx Storm release party at my local Barnes. So I'll kind of take you along. We'll be buying the book at 11 p.m. because I live in Central Time. And so it goes out at midnight Eastern Time. So we get it a little bit early. Then I am hoping to just spend the rest of my week that I'm not working just like curled up and cozy and reading Onyx Storm, and I'm so excited to take you guys along with me, so let's get into it.
Hello guys. Ooh. This is the first time I've spoken this morning to the Onyx Storm release on Monday night, and it was so much fun. We had a group of like 6 of us that all went, and we had a really fun time. They didn't do quite as many like fun things as some of the other Barnes that I saw in our area and like from other places that people were just like posting online. So I do wish that they had like gone a little more on all out. I think next year we're gonna try and find like an indie bookstore that's doing a party. We do have a few in our area that I feel like would do that kind of thing. So I think next year we're gonna try and get out of like the Barnes kind of thing and find like an indie bookstore to support. I wanted to give some reading updates for Onyx Storm. I did start it on Monday night, like when I got home. It was like 11:30 at night, and I like pretty much immediately jumped in and read a few chapters just because I was so excited and I like couldn't not. I just felt like I had to read it. So I read a little bit Monday night, and then I picked it up early yesterday morning. Now I am starting it again this morning. I'm on chapter 14, so I'm about 118 pages in. I don't have much to say right now. I will probably do another update soon once I'm like a little bit more into what's going on. And I'm also going to keep this entirely spoiler free for the whole series. So in case you haven't finished Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, you won't get anything spoiled for you from this video. It's going to be entirely spoiler free for the series. So that's where we're at. I'm going to do a little bit of reading, and then I'll update you guys once I have a bit more to say. Honestly guys, there's just something about making your bed in the morning and then just like getting right back in it. I think we're about to learn some serious lore in the next couple of chapters, and I'm so ready for it. Let's talk about this book, shall we? So, to give you a brief overview of this series, we start with the first book, which is Fourth Wing, then move into the second book, which is Iron Flame, and finally, now we're on the third book, which is Onyx Storm. The series is supposed to be a total of 5 books, so we are nowhere near done. Our story starts out with our main character named Violet, who is this very weak, fragile, frail little female main character who, of course, just like in any other romantasy, turns out to be like a total baddie. Violet comes to this school called Basgaeth in the beginning of Fourth Wing, where she is sorted into the Rider's Quadrant, which essentially means she, if she's chosen by a dragon, gets to ride a dragon. And that's her role in this war college. Fourth Wing is mainly following Violet, her discovery of what it's like to be in this war college, her developing understanding of the world in which she lives, and learning herself and learning how to wield powers. There are many other characters that are introduced in Fourth Wing that come from all different places in this fantasy world that we are starting to kind of see, but we're really only understanding glimpses of what's going on in the world outside of Basgiath in Fourth Wing, in the first book. Then we move on to Iron Flame, which is a lot more world building. We're expanding our understanding beyond Basgiath. We're meeting different people, different cultures. We have now a new understanding of how the fantasy world works, how the magic system works, that there are other elements that in the first book were not introduced, that now we're learning more about, and the history of, and how that plays into their world now. And then finally we're moving into Onyx Storm, which is where we're at right now, where we are picking up with this better understanding of Violet as a person, better understanding of the world from Iron Flame, and now moving into Onyx Storm, we're getting a lot more politics. So there is this bigger event that is brewing, this bigger thing where you're like, the other shoe is going to drop at any moment, and it's going to change everything, and everything is just going to explode and fall apart, and it's going to be crazy dramatic and intense. And that is what's happening now in Onyx Storm. So where we're at, there has been quite a bit of setup. Picking up in Iron Flame, we kind of had to discover the whole, like, what the heck is going on from the end of Fourth Wing. And now we're kind of just doing the same thing, but from Iron Flame to Onyx Storm. Something happened at the end of Iron Flame, and now we are just kind of like picking up the pieces in Onyx Storm and trying to figure out what these characters are going to do next. There's also a romance in this series that's pretty predominant. It's very important to the story. It starts in Fourth Wing, and we're carrying on with the same kind of thing. One thing that I am not loving so much about this right now is that the romance is kind of annoying, and I felt that way a little bit in Iron Flame 2, where I was just getting kind of like aggravated with these characters not being able to communicate with each other, but I'm kind of feeling the same way. Less on the miscommunication, it's a little bit better on that. But there have just been these situations that have been created, like, literally just for the sake of being dramatic. Like, there's no other reason for these plot points to happen except that it causes drama and tension in this relationship. I don't know that I'm loving that. I kind of feel like it's being really drawn out, kind of for no reason. And I understand that they have to create conflict for the relationship, but I kind of feel like it's unnecessary. We could be leaning more into the bigger thing that affects their relationship instead of creating all of these other smaller plot points that just add tension and drama, but don't actually like do a whole lot for the plot. It could be that there are some bigger, like, deeper meanings to the things that are happening that right now just feel annoying. And it could be that it's going to end up being a really impactful thing that happens because of this. But I have an inkling that it's simply for the drama. And there's some of that I accept and am okay with. I felt like in the first two books, we got like little sprinklings of the side characters, but we were very, very focused on the two main characters. And in this one, I feel like now we're getting a lot more from the side characters. We're getting a lot more development of what's going on in their lives, and also like how they are being impacted by everything that's going on. I'm hoping that continues and we even get a little bit more. There are still a few things that I'm very confused about. There's also been quite a bit of info dumping, but I'm not super mad about it because she's doing it in a way that still like includes action, and that like the information we're learning is pretty important for the story and the plot. But I do feel like some of the conversations are a little bit odd because she's trying to portray information through dialogue. It feels a little bit weird between some of the characters for them to be having those conversations and saying the type of things that they're saying for the sake of conveying information to us, the reader. It feels unnatural for like the characters to be speaking like that all the time. So just a couple of things that I like am critiquing just for the sake of critiquing, but I am still very entertained. I'm having a very good time. I'm very excited to see what is going to happen next. We just had like kind of a significant significant thing happen, and I'm close to page 150 at this point, so I feel like we should be like picking up into where the bigger plot points are going by now. It also feels a lot like a TV show, which I know that is going to be turned into a TV show, so I'm wondering if she in part is like writing it having the TV show in mind, and so that's why it's feeling very like TV drama-ish. I don't know, that was a lot of word vomit, but those are my thoughts so far. I'm gonna keep reading. I have, I don't know, another hour and a half or so before I have to start work. The best. The best. Alright. I'm on chapter 63 of 66 chapters. So let's go ahead and finish this guy up. I'm not done. I have one more chapter I'm gonna use. Wait. That's it? Okay, it's time to talk. I just finished Iron Flame. What? I just finished Onyx Storm not that long ago, maybe an hour or so by now. And unfortunately, I don't think you're gonna like what I have to say. Let's start with the positives. I'm all about looking at the plus side of things. I do really like how we expanded on the world in this book. And I know I've been saying this the whole video, but this is going to be spoiler free for the whole series, so you are safe here if you have not read any of them. I like how Rebecca Yarros expanded on the world in this. I like that we got to see a little bit more, get a little bit more insight into how her world works, how the magic works, how the dragons work, and a little bit more insight into some of those fantasy elements. I felt like she did a good job of expanding on some of those things and giving us some more crumbs around kind of how this whole world works. I also will say she is really good at taking us through some twists and turns and throwing some stuff into the plot that you do not expect, which adds a shock factor that is really entertaining and kind of addictive. I really liked Fourth Wing for that, for entertainment value, for shock factor. That was part of the reason why I got so hooked on the first book, and that I really liked Iron Flame for the continuation of the world building and the character development, and how just like we got to learn more and get more about how their world kind of works, and then little sprinklings of political intrigue you start to see in Iron Flame, and then it's really expanded on in Onyx Storm. There's a lot of political intrigue in this book, and I typically do enjoy political intrigue in fantasy books.
However, I felt like the way that she did it in Onyx Storm was just not my favorite. And I think that this comes down to a few different things. I've been trying to kind of like figure out why I didn't enjoy this book as much as I thought I was going to, as much as other people around me enjoyed it. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to the way that she wrote the plot of this book. Felt very choppy. Like her writing style and how she jumped from thing to thing to thing felt very like broken and choppy and hard to follow in a lot of areas, beyond just being fast-paced. I feel like in the interest of keeping her readers engaged, she kind of lost the plot in like a few different areas. There were a few things that happened in this that I just felt like were absolutely unnecessary. She kind of just like threw stuff in there for that shock factor and just for the drama, but it didn't actually add to the story and add to the plot and add to the character development in any way. Moving on to the characters, I think I said earlier, I really liked the crumbs that we have been getting of some of the side characters, and I've really been enjoying them as characters a lot more than I've been honestly enjoying the main characters. And I think that like the introduction of more in-depth character development of side characters that started in Iron Flame was really promising, and even at the beginning of this also felt really promising. But then it just like stopped. Like it kind of fell flat. The characters didn't really change, they didn't grow, they didn't learn in a lot of ways. There was a little bit of that where you could see like, okay, you've developed this much in your ability to make good decisions, but all in all, unfortunately, I did not see a lot of growth in the characters. Someone else may have very different opinions and see this very differently than I do, and I absolutely understand that and completely like see how people would absolutely love this. But for me, it's been a year since I read Iron Flame, and I felt like there was a lot of information that I was missing going into Onyx Storm, either because I'd forgotten it, or maybe it wasn't there in the first place, or maybe it was only breezed by at some point in time. I did not do a reread, and I definitely think that if I had, there would be a lot more things that would have made a lot more sense. However, that doesn't really change how I feel about the plot and the characters. I feel like there were just so many side characters that it was really hard to connect with any of them. There was a lot of information about a lot of different people, and that made it extremely difficult to like feel really connected and really care about any one person, because we're just getting like little crumbs and little trails of like a whole bunch of different people. Like it felt like the only scenes we got with the side characters were scenes where like traumatic things were happening, and it happened this quick, and we were just expected to care a lot about it. And I just felt like there needed to be more of like an arc of like, okay, we're learning more, we're starting to care. Now something really big and traumatic has happened. Now I care a lot about it. But I feel like it was just a lot of like, okay, here's some basic information, and now here's some trauma, and you should really care about that. It's the shock factor that I think that she just like leans so heavily on, which it's not bad, it just wasn't necessarily hitting for me this time around. I think I was hoping for something new and different, and it just fell flat for me personally. This was my reading experience. This was how I felt about it based on my knowledge and my experience, and that could be vastly different person to person. My sister-in-law read this and gave it 5 stars and said it was her favorite book of all 3 of them. So it definitely depends on you as a person, you as a reader, and also like your environment when you're reading it. I started to get like pretty slumpy when I was about halfway through this. I just like stopped caring, and I was having a really hard time getting through it and wanting to pick it up, which is really sad because I was hoping to really, really love it, and unfortunately I did not. So all of that to say, I did still have a good time. It was still entertaining. I will still be continuing the rest of the series as they come out. However, Onyx Storm gets a 3.5 star from me. It was good. I liked it. A 3-star rating is still a good rating in my opinion. And a 3.5 I think is right because it felt like I had a fun time. I was entertained. There were a lot of things that I did enjoy, but it just didn't feel like 4 stars or above for me personally and my reading experience. So that is all I have to say about this. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey. It took like way longer than it should have. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, a comment, subscribe to my channel if you want more book content. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.